I never thought of myself as the suspicious type. I didn't check his phone. I didn't track his location. But something shifted the week before everything changed. He'd come home later. He'd smile less. He'd answer with one-word replies that felt hollow. And I noticed that he never left his phone out of reach. Not even for a second. It was a Wednesday. I remember because our daughter had a school presentation that afternoon, and he didn't show up. He said he had a meeting. I didn't ask questions. That night, while he was in the shower, he left his phone charging in the kitchen, unlocked. I walked past it twice. I told myself I was just putting away the dishes, just wiping the counter. But the third time, I stopped. I tapped the screen. I don't know what I expected to see. A text, maybe. A name I didn't recognize. A message that didn't feel right. What I saw wasn't a message. It was a photo. A photo of him, laying in our bed, smiling. But he wasn't alone. She was half-dressed, her arm across his chest. Their faces were pressed together, close, like they'd done it 100 times. The same pillows I fluff every morning. The same blanket my mother bought us for our wedding. It wasn't even hidden in a folder. It was right there in his camera roll. Like it meant nothing. Like I meant nothing. I didn't say anything when he came out of the shower. I didn't throw the phone. I didn't cry. I said, "Dinner's in the fridge," and walked upstairs. I sat on the bed, our bed, and looked at the photo again. Zoomed in. There was a detail in the background. A book I had just finished reading, still on the nightstand. It was recent. Very recent. My hands were steady. That surprised me. I took a screenshot and sent it to my email. Then I opened the family group chat. The one where his mom sends good morning prayers. The one where everyone sends birthday wishes and memes. I almost sent it. But I didn't. Not that night. Instead, I stared at the photo again. And I thought, they all pretend so well. Maybe they already knew. Maybe some of them had seen the signs and stayed quiet. Maybe that silence hurt more than the betrayal itself. He kissed me on the forehead before going to bed. I flinched, just slightly. Enough for me to feel it, not enough for him to notice. I lay awake for hours. Not crying. Just aware. Aware that everything I'd ignored, excused, explained away, had led to this. The next morning, I packed our daughter's lunch, tied her hair into a braid, and smiled at her. Because this wasn't her burden. It was mine. And soon, I'd do something with it. If you've ever been there, watching your world break quietly while no one else hears it, this story is for you. Sometimes, silence isn't weakness. It's preparation. I didn't bring it up the next morning. He kissed our daughter goodbye, told me he'd be home late, and left with his phone in hand. Same routine. Same lie. I spent the day moving in slow motion. I answered emails. Folded laundry. Made pasta for dinner, the kind he liked with too much garlic. I was calm. Focused. Detached in a way that felt new, like I'd slipped out of my own body and was watching someone else go through the motions of my life. When he came home, he kissed my cheek like nothing had changed. Sat down at the table, opened a beer, and asked how our daughter had done on her math test. She answered first, beaming. He smiled at her, and for a moment, I watched the face of the man I married. The man I thought I married. Then he looked at me. You okay? Yeah. Just tired. He didn't push. He never did. He only really noticed when something affected him directly. We ate in silence for a while. He talked to our daughter about weekend plans, mentioned a park she liked. I nodded when he included me, but he didn't really wait for my answer. After dinner, I told him I'd do the dishes. He said thanks and took her upstairs for bedtime. I waited until I heard the door close. Then I sat down at the table, opened my phone, and looked at the family chat again. It was so easy. Just one tap to upload the photo. Another to write something. But I didn't. Not yet. I clicked on his name instead. Opened his camera roll from that day. The same picture. Then another. And another. A video this time. A short clip. Them laughing, tangled in our sheets. It was casual. Intimate. Not rushed. She said something like, "She'll never know," and he laughed. That was the first time I almost cried. Not because of the photo. But because of how normal it sounded. Like I was the secret. Like they were the real thing. I locked my phone, stood up, and walked to the sink. Started scrubbing plates I'd cooked for people who were never really with me. After the dishes were done, I sat back down. Wrote a message in the family group. I thought you all should see what I found. Do with it what you will. I deleted it before I sent it. Instead, I just saved the photo under a new folder. One only I could access. Then I turned off the lights and sat in the dark kitchen, listening to the quiet hum of the fridge and the low creaks of footsteps upstairs. This wasn't about revenge. Not yet. It was about truth. And timing. Because some truths don't need to be shouted. They just need to be seen. At 8:12 a.m., I hit send. No caption. No warning. Just the photo, him and her, tangled in the sheets I washed, in the room I slept in the bed we bought together. It went straight into the family group chat. I placed the phone face down on the table and went about my morning. Coffee. A slice of toast I didn't finish. I packed my daughter's lunch, tied her hair back in a neat ponytail, kissed her forehead, and walked her to the carpool. The entire time, my heart didn't race once. I was beyond anger. I wasn't waiting for an explosion. I was waiting for something quieter. And in some ways, much heavier. When I got back, I turned my phone over. 14 reads. No replies. I opened the app and watched the little profile pictures pile up under the message. Green check marks. Read by his mother. His sister. His cousin. 2 of his uncles. A few people I barely spoke to. By 9:05 a.m., it was 21. Still no replies. No one typed. No one reacted. Not even a question mark. Just silence. As if they'd all collectively agreed that pretending not to see was safer than acknowledging what I'd made visible. At 9:17 a.m., a message finally came in. It was from his cousin, Vanessa. I'm sorry. I didn't know how to tell you. No denial. No shock. Just resignation. That one sentence confirmed what I already suspected: it wasn't a secret. It was a tolerated truth, buried under convenience. I didn't respond. Then his sister messaged me privately. I always thought something was off. I wish I had said something. She didn't apologize. She didn't defend him. But she also didn't offer anything useful. Just guilt, sent in a text bubble. By 10:03 a.m., there were 28 people who had seen the photo. Still only 2 public responses. The group chat had gone silent. But the direct messages started to come in. Some sent shocked emojis. Others asked if it was real. One aunt wrote a paragraph about how marriage is complicated and men make mistakes. I didn't respond to any of them. At 10:24 a.m., his mother called me. I didn't answer. She called again 2 minutes later. And again at 10:30. On the 4th try, I picked up. Her voice was trembling. Please tell me this isn't what it looks like. I didn't answer. We should talk about this privately. Not like this. Not with everyone watching. So that was her concern. Not the act. The audience. I sent it the same way I received it. Without warning, I said. Silence. You should have come to me, she finally said. Should he have come to me before bringing her into our bed? More silence. You know I love you like a daughter. I'm not your daughter. And then I hung up. I sat in the kitchen and stared at the phone. There were new messages now. His brother had posted a joke about traffic. Another relative sent a photo of their dog. Someone had dropped a "Good morning everyone" with a smiling sun. They were burying it. Paving over the hole with digital small talk. But I wasn't going to dig through their platitudes looking for closure. Later that day, he came home early. He walked in slow, as if trying not to be noticed. I guess you saw it, he said. I didn't speak. I don't know what to say. Then don't. He nodded. Stood there. Waiting for something. Maybe forgiveness. Maybe drama. I gave him neither. That night, I told our daughter he'd be sleeping in the guest room for a while. She didn't ask why. And I didn't cry. I had done that part of the grieving long before the photo. What I was feeling now wasn't grief. It was certainty. She called me again the next morning. I almost ignored it. But something told me to pick up, not to make peace, not to listen. Just to hear how far she'd go to protect her son. I answered on the second ring. Her voice was soft, unsteady. I didn't know, she said. I had no idea it had gone that far. I didn't speak. I wanted to hear her fill the silence. I thought, maybe they were just friends. He's always had friendships that pushed boundaries. Friendships that pushed boundaries. I almost laughed. You saw the photo. Yes, I did. I didn't think it was real at first. It was in our bed. Believe me, I feel sick just thinking about it. Do you? Yes, of course I do. I brought her into our home. I introduced her to you. I thought she was just helping out. That's how he presented it. You've seen him lie before. Don't pretend this is new. Her breath caught for a second. She didn't deny it. He's always struggled with commitment. With honesty. But I never thought he would do this to you. Not you. The words hung there. Not you. Like it would have been more understandable if it were someone else. Less painful. Less tragic. I think I should come by, she said, voice trembling again. We should talk face to face. No. I don't want visitors. Please. Just let me say. I don't need explanations. I need space. She hesitated. Then, like someone trying one last card, she said. I still see you as family. Then you should have acted like it. I ended the call. I didn't feel victorious. I felt done. There was a time I would have cried hearing her voice crack. A time when I might have believed she didn't know. That time was over. What she didn't know, she chose not to know. I sat on the couch with my hands clasped together. The apartment was quiet. Our daughter was drawing at the table. She looked up at me with her usual brightness. She didn't sense the shift. Or maybe she did and didn't know how to name it. I stood up and walked into the guest room. He was in there, scrolling his phone. He didn't look at me right away. When he did, he looked like someone waiting for a verdict. I talked to your mother, I said. He nodded. I'm moving out. He looked down. I saw his jaw clench. But he didn't argue. I can stay with a friend for a few days, he said. Until you figure things out. You don't get to wait for me to figure things out. You've already made your choice. It was a mistake. It was a series of choices. It didn't mean anything. I smiled at that. Cold. Small. That's worse. He didn't speak after that. I turned and walked out. I packed a small suitcase that evening, just the essentials for me and our daughter. I left the photos, the glassware, the books I knew he wouldn't touch. I could come back for those later. When I told our daughter we'd be staying at a new place for a little while, she asked, "Is Dad coming too?" "Not this time," I said. She didn't ask why. She nodded and grabbed her stuffed animal from the bed. I closed the front door behind us without looking back. The place I was moving into wasn't perfect. It was small. A little dark. It smelled faintly of fresh paint and disuse. But it was mine. For the first time in years, I felt space opening around me, space to breathe, to think, to be. I put her to sleep on a mattress on the floor, covered her with a soft blanket, and sat in the kitchen with the lights off. I didn't want noise. I didn't want distraction. I opened my phone. New messages from his mother. One from him. "Let me know you're safe." I didn't answer. Because I was more than safe. I was free. The new apartment wasn't much. It had beige walls, a couch that didn't match the curtains, and a kitchen that echoed when I set down my keys. But it was mine. The first night there, I didn't unpack everything. I just made a small space for our daughter, pillows on the floor, her favorite blanket, a lamp that gave off a soft yellow glow. She fell asleep quickly. Children are better at adapting than we are. Or maybe they sense when something is finally calm, even if it looks unfamiliar. I stayed up late. No TV. No music. Just the quiet hum of the fridge and the feeling that the air was different, lighter, slower. I thought I'd feel sad. Or proud. Or scared. But I didn't feel anything huge. I felt done. That kind of done where you don't even want revenge. You just want distance. Clean, undramatic distance. The next morning, I brewed coffee in a pot I found in the back of the cabinet. Sat at the kitchen table with the window cracked open, letting in a breeze that still smelled faintly like rain. I checked my phone. 5 missed calls from him. 3 from his mother. A single message from his sister. "You're stronger than all of us." I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. Later that day, he came by to drop off a box of our daughter's books. He didn't come inside. Just handed it to me at the door. He looked tired. Not broken. Just worn out from facing what he thought he could hide. "I know you probably hate me," he said. "I don't," I replied. He looked confused. "You don't?" "No. I just stopped needing you." That hit harder than any insult I could have thrown at him. He nodded and stepped back. "If you ever want to talk." "I don't." He left without saying goodbye. I closed the door slowly. Not as a final act. Just as the natural end of a chapter. That evening, I lit a candle. Not out of ritual, but because the air felt still, and I wanted something alive in the room. I thought about the messages I'd received. The women who'd written me privately. The ones who said they'd stayed. The ones who said they'd left but too late. I thought about the stories I'd heard in whispers, stories I now realized weren't that different from mine. Just less visible. And I realized something I hadn't before. I didn't need this story to make me stronger. I already was strong. This wasn't my beginning. It was just the moment I stopped waiting for permission to move. And if you're here, reading this, listening, or just trying to find your own way out, maybe you don't need a sign either. Maybe you just need someone to remind you that walking away doesn't have to be loud to be final. I didn't burn the house down. I just left with the match. And that was enough. If this story stayed with you, share it. Someone out there might be waiting for a quiet reason to take back their silence too.